Terry Jones spent his early years in the Welsh countryside.
My dad was Welsh, although born in Streatham, but he lived in Ruthin and worked in the bank in Denby, I think it was. And I think maybe he worked in the bank in Colwyn Bay at some point. Anyway, he met me mum in Colwyn Bay, where she was living with her parents. And they ran the Colwyn Bay Amateur Operatic Society. And so they put on Gilbert and Sullivan twice a year at the end of the pier. When I was born, I think my dad maybe came and saw me when I was a week old or something like that. He was up in Scotland, I think, in the RAF. And then he got posted off to India. So I think he came and saw me for a day and then was off again and posted out to India. And I didn't see him until I was something like 4.5 or something. So I can actually remember meeting my dad for the first time, going to the railway station at Colwyn Bay and walking up the steps. And in those days, they used to have enamel plates on every step with the names of exotic destinations like Paynton and Torquay and Bangor and Llandudno and things. And I'm waiting with it, and this train arriving, and my mum getting terribly anxious, and me and my brother being there waiting to see this man whom we'd never known, we'd seen photos of. And then everybody coming off the train, and my mum getting terribly anxious because she couldn't see him, and then suddenly at the end of the platform there's a guy with a kit bag and a forage cap, and that's him, and he picks us up and kisses us, and I find it very alarming because he had a moustache. I hadn't actually been kissed by anybody with a moustache before. Well, I can remember my first joke, actually. Yeah. We were in Colwyn Bay, so I must have been, I suppose I was before I was 4, so I don't know, maybe I'm 3 or something. And we were having dinner with supper, as we used to call it then, high tea or something with my gran, and we'd had our pudding, and Gran asked us if we wanted any more custard. And I remember seeing an opportunity for a joke and passing my mat up and thinking, couldn't believe how well it worked. She just took the mat and poured the custard over it. And I sort of just sat there waiting for the accolades, the name in lights at the London Palladium. I could just see it all, Instead of which, everybody turned on me and said, "What did you do that for, you stupid boy?" And nobody turned and said, "Why did that Gran pour custard over the mat? Why didn't she look what she was doing?" And that was the first time I also realised that comedy is a very double-edged thing, It's the other thing about comedy, that if people find it funny, that's fine. But if they don't find it funny, they're very aggressive about it.
Terry Jones directed 3 of Monty Python's movies. From an early age, Terry knew he wanted to participate in making things.
All I was interested in was making things. That's all I ever wanted to do. And so sort of writing was always the thing. Writing poetry was what I thought one had to do, but because I didn't know about poems you can always make up without any experience and get things to rhyme. But I just wanted to make things, basically. I always... I can remember when I was at primary school, people saying, "What do you want to do when you grow up?" And I just said, "Well, I just want to do something creative. I just wanted to..." and in fact, I wouldn't have minded what it was. When it was making furniture, I would have been quite happy, so long as I could have, made it, designed it, made it.
Like his contemporaries, Terry Jones was influenced by the Goons.
Certainly, the Goons is what I really liked. Yes, it stuck out a mile for me. Hancock's Half Hour, I've always been into fantasy, basically. And Hancock's Half Hour was a bit too basic. It was just, somebody down the road in East Cheam or something. And it didn't have the fantasy element that the Goons had, which one I liked. The breaking free of conventions that Milligan achieved with the Goons. My brother used to form my taste very much. He used to sort of tell me what I had to listen to and what I shouldn't listen to. I remember him making me listen to the first broadcast of Undermilk Wood. I don't know when that was. But I can remember him doing that, and me sitting I think I sat under the dining room table listening to it. And quite enjoying it, but not being able to concentrate really for the whole thing.
Terry Jones's first real experience of proper acting on a stage came at university.
I think it was Chris Robinson, who was at school with me. I think it was when we were up in university, or when we were about to go up to university, maybe before, or something like that. And he was involved in his local amateur dramatic group. I think it was in East Horsley or somewhere like that. And he suddenly asked me to do this piece, Time Remembered, by Jean Anouilh, I think it is. So I did that with a lovely lady called Ruth, and we did this play. Again, I had no idea what it was about, really.